Welcome back to another episode of WJAG-TV. This week we'll take a drive to Sandy Creek to partake in folk festivities, get more information on the junior trip to Europe, climb aboard and see the progress of the CCSD food truck, learn teacher and student boundaries, and see how cool eSports can be. My name is Aaliyah Nile.
And I'm Michael Castile.
And this is WJAG-TV, your weekly school news.
Imani Foote and Dennis Maganda attended the 35th Annual North Georgia Folk Festival that is designed to preserve the main essence of folk traditions such as food, music, and dance. Here's Dennis and Imani with more.
From a tradition that started over 30 years ago, Athens held its 35th Annual Folk Festival here at Sandy Creek on October 12th. The tradition started in the year 1984, and the festival still lives on thanks to Tommy Jordan.
It was originally done in conjunction with the county, and a fellow named Joel Cordell was the county guy who put it together. Art Rosenbaum was one of the founding members. David Edwards, who's over there right now, was one of the guys, and a couple people have passed on since then, and you know, it kind of rolls on through people. I've been doing it for 11 years.
It's an amazing festival. It has traditional craft demonstrations. It has vendors that craft their own items, different items, from beautiful sweetgrass baskets to crafted jewelry to beautiful art.
We're playing music with one another and for one another. We're expressing ourselves through our music. We're passing it on to we're teaching it to our friends and to our children.
The festival accommodates a vast variety in the amount of different activities, people, bands, and commodities that serve an average of over 1,000 attendees.
The greatest part is the vibes, you know. I think the best part is just the mix of everything. You got nature, you got music, you got art, you got food, pottery, all the other stuff going on.
It's a great sampling of different types of folk music. Earlier we had some people that were playing some more Middle Eastern kind of folk music, and then you have, of course, Southeastern folk music as well. Sometimes you get bluegrass.
I am the resident blacksmith at William Harris Homestead, and we do tours for children, and that's how I got involved with the Folk Festival.
The Folk Festival, my friend Maggie Hunter, she's an amazing songstress, an amazing musician, and a songwriter. And she told me about the festival. And so I came last year, and I volunteered in the children's section, and I'm here this year doing superhero yoga. I love that people are here and they enjoy playing music, they enjoy playing instruments, they enjoy bringing their children here and teaching them about traditional things and handcrafted ways to create items.
I came into town in 1986 to go to grad school, and I started coming to these events in the 86-87 period, 1986-87.
The Folk Festival brings in over 30 performers that all contrast in their specific genres.
I would describe folk as grassroots, traditional music, and for different people from different places and backgrounds, that can mean an assortment of different things.
Basically, the kind of arts and music of the people, basically, of the everyday people, as opposed to things like classical music or opera. And to me, the folk music or folk dancing, all that stuff is kind of an idea of bringing forward traditions that that people had established.
Folk music is a tradition. It's a social tradition, and it's not just it's not just one thing. It's bluegrass, it's Irish, it's a cappella, it's gospel, it's the music that people play, people sing.
As well as the music, traditions are also a big part of the station centered around commodities. Rebecca Gilliard was able to use the Folk Festival as a wonderful platform to inform people of the history of her display of woven baskets and how she's been able to keep that tradition.
I am one of the sweetgrass basket makers from Charleston, South Carolina. The basket was made, came over here with the slave. When the slave first came to America as a way of bringing crops and everything from the field. And since they started making the pots and pans, we just continue the tradition. And it's a very historical art. It goes back more than 400 years. It's passed down from generation to generation. Our parents teach us and we teach our children. And it's, at the present, it is becoming a dying art, but we're preserving it.
Many people in the Athens folk community think that folk has been able to grow because of this folk festival.
The festival seems to get larger and larger. We get more and more people involved.
I think that there was a point in the 80s and 90s where it wasn't that great. You know, I mean, it was really popular in the 60s and 70s. A lot of people were playing acoustic guitar, a lot of people were singing songs and writing songs, and there was always the folk scene and the old time scene, but I tell you, in recent years, it seems like there's a lot more people who are interested in this sort of music, and they're learning how to play the instruments and playing it.
This has been Imani Foot and Dennis Maganda from WJAG-TV News.
It's amazing how people come out and share their time-honored traditions even today. For all juniors that are interested in going to Europe in 2021, Camry Branch got all the information just in case you missed it. Take a look.
Have you ever wanted to take a trip outside the country? Pack your bags, because now you can. Teachers Mr. Walker and Miss Milford have decided to plan a trip to Europe for the class of 2021.
In the summer of 2021, so the idea is that the class of 2021 will graduate, and then we will go on this trip in the beginning of June. So right now, our main goal is to get at least 20 kids signed up to go on this trip.
For the Europe trip, you'll be going to France, Monaco, and Italy.
It's 2 travel days, so a day there and a day back, and then 10 full days in Europe. So basically, traveling we know is expensive, but we hopefully chose the best tour for the best price.
Everything is covered from your plane ticket there and back. All your meals, excluding lunch, in your room will be covered. You will have to come out of pocket for tipping, lunch, and buying souvenirs. Students have expressed their excitement for this upcoming trip.
I want to get out there, explore, and know what's going on around the world, and also see new things. I want to see monuments, historical places like the Eiffel Tower, and places like that. Yeah, it's a good bit. Not everybody, because a lot of people think it might be a little too much, like the price-wise.
Because it's Europe, it's a whole ocean away, full of monuments and places and people and new food that's probably better than here. Probably seeing Rome and seeing the old architecture, the Colosseum.
There is more room for anyone to join at any time. The date for the meeting is still undecided, so make sure to look for that in the near future. This has been Camry Branch signing off.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I hope you all consider. I wish I could go. Since last spring, Clark Central, Cedar Shoals, and the Career Academy have collaboratively worked together to start a food truck that will help raise money for our Athens community. Here's Ethan Rice with the scoop.
Last spring, the Clark County School District purchased a used SWAT truck and are in the process of turning it into a fully functioning food truck.
So we've pretty much got the inside of the truck gutted out to where we can start installing the new kitchen appliances in there. There's going to be 2 large refrigerators, 2 coolers with countertops on top of them, 6-burner gas stove, a 48-inch flat grill, and a 36-inch barbecue type grill installed. There's going to be 3 sinks and also another sink for washing the appliances, the dishes, and silverware and things like that.
Teachers from both Cedar Shoals and Clark Central are actively planning and working on it.
The purpose of the food truck is to get students in multiple different career tech ag education or CTAE courses to work together collaboratively on a project that puts them in a real world situation, right? So we're not just going to theoretically talk about starting a business, we're going to actually start a business. And so that means Auto Tech gets to construct the truck, and it gets graphic design, designing the logo, and marketing and business, working on business plans and marketing plans, and it gets culinary arts writing menus for the future truck, and we all get to work together on this project that is going to be awesome resume experience.
Students that take auto tech also take part in the creation of the food truck.
So I've done several things. I helped a lot with demolition. That was just taking everything out. I've worked on some repairs on the engine as well, such as helping put a new alternator in and taking off some air compressors on it. The hardest part, I would say just sort of being out there and doing the manual labor all the time, because I mean, it gets pretty hot out there, but you just got to sort of power through it and know that it's going towards a good cause.
By spring, the participating students hope to be on the roads and serving food to the Athens community. This has been Ethan Rice for WJAG-TV Student News.
Inspiring to see Cedar and Central put down their rivalries to help to come together for our community's greater good.
Sometimes student and teacher boundaries can be hard to decipher, but then again, some are obvious. Here's Maddie Johnson with more info.
A few weeks ago, I submitted a short story or brain break to the WJAG-TV news, which contained an inappropriate representation of a teacher. My mistake was I did not get consent from that certain teacher beforehand to use her name in such a fashion, which in turn offended said teacher. I deeply regret my actions, and I will make sure this never happens again. But this situation got me thinking, what are some of the other boundaries that some other teachers may have at Cedar Shoals? Let's find out.
I'll say that those boundaries somewhat fluctuate depending on if you're a teacher, parapro, almost like the hierarchy of the profession.
I generally don't allow bad language in the classroom. I ask people to use nice words. I just take them out in the hall and we talk about it privately, and then they come back in if they behave correctly, and if they're not, they can go sit in somebody else's classroom.
But what I would say is that we use humor a lot, almost like on a day-to-day basis, but it's not humor to disrespect, it's not humor to make fun of, it's not humor to degrade. So in terms of the humor boundaries, I said that's almost individual to each teacher or administrator. We all have our own twist on how we talk, how we sort of go about our business. But I'll say that humor is used, I say lightly in this process. But it's needed. It's a very important aspect. You have to be able to laugh, man, or you'll definitely cry. I was never good at telling jokes like that. And my feelings typically got hurt, so I don't joke like that, but I do try to keep it light with humor, meaning that it might not be a joke, but it might be something said or done or something that we can relate on. Let's say we have a conversation and it goes sideways, and I know the next time I have to have either a witness on my side, a teacher, a fellow administrator, or the best case scenario is their parents or family.
What do you want to say to students who think it's okay to, in some cases, bully, but harass and just be rude to teachers?
I don't understand the point of that. This is a school. You got up and came to school that morning, and you came to school to learn. That's the only reason to go to school.
We're just trying to teach you the pathways to be successful, on down the road. So what we try to teach you here is how to encounter your first employer, your first boss. All those conversations here are geared towards trying to make you better and more successful in the future when you start living in the real world and taking care of yourself.
Teachers are the ones that are helping you get the education that you need, helping you get the diploma you need, so that you can move on with your life.
Trying to hold you accountable, yet also be able to persevere through those situations.
Students that want to get on up out of here, they need to do what the teachers expect of them. They need to do their work and their own learning, and being rude and disrespectful to a teacher isn't going to get you what you want.
Thank you, Maddie, for enlightening us on student and teacher boundaries. eSports are on the rise. eSports consists of multiplayer tournament-based games which can open doors for many opportunities such as scholarships and prize money. Mikey here went out and interviewed students on their experiences.
The rise of the electronic age, new opportunities in sports have sprouted. At the global, college, and high school level, eSports are on the rise. Here at Cedar Shoals, some students have taken the plunge and are attempting to make it big gaming.
I've been playing Overwatch a lot for a while, and then I've been following the Overwatch League, which is a competitive, professional area, and I thought that seemed really interesting, so I decided I would look into it and see how you went about getting on a team.
Well, when I was little, I always liked playing games, and I started try-harding a bunch of games, and I was pretty decent at them, so I just started look at teams just to play professionally.
Max Whitford, a sophomore here at Cedar, has been attempting to start a school esports team for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I'm working on reaching out to other schools to ask on how they actually started it and how they organize their practices and their games. So the league that we're in is called Play Versus, and that league has about 60-70 teams around Georgia alone. And last year they had a beta season just for Georgia. However, they are expanding into all 50 states.
As games become more mainstream and a lot more people are participating and playing them, it's opened a lot of opportunities for people to get competitive and find out about those things.
You can be really good at the game and make a living out of it, or you can just be funny and enjoyable to watch and you can make a living streaming.
As esports grow in popularity, the opportunity to earn scholarships to multiple colleges across the country is a real possibility.
Georgia Tech has a League of Legends team, I know that, and they compete around the country in tournaments.
UGA has a, I don't know if it's a club currently or they're actually developing it into a team, but I know especially here in Georgia, they're making the Georgia Collegiate eSports League, which will focus on games like League and Overwatch and stuff. And it's definitely becoming a bigger thing here in Georgia. There's a lot of competition. It's very competitive right now. Like, you have to be really good to get somewhere.
Oh yeah, you definitely need to put in the time. I have a bunch of hours in multiple games, and you know, I'm still pretty decent.
I definitely think there's a stigma about playing video games on a high school level or as a career because it's kind of breaking the mend. I don't think it's been done.
You know, people will think, you know, you're kind of dirty and you don't really do much.
If someone asks me about it, like, I'll tell them, and if they think that's weird, that's not really my problem as much. I'm happy to do it, I'm enjoying.
Though still seen as a nerdy pastime by many, esports have been redefining what it means to be an athlete. As the professional scene continues to grow, what was once a hobby has the potential to become something bigger than just a game.
Whoa, Mikey, I think I might make an account tonight.
I'm with you on that one, Aaliyah.
Now to sports.
Bush with Alexis Lemus, and this is WJAG-TV Sports News.
On the gridiron, the Jags are coming off a win against the Johnson Knights and will now face off against the Loganville Red Devils. This is the second to last game of the regular season.
The Cedar Shoals Jaguars and Johnson Knights faced off at the Waters Wilkins Stadium on October 18th to play their last home game of the season. Within 20 seconds of the first quarter, Cedar Shoals suffered an early touchdown scored by Johnson running back Xavier Ramsey. By the time the first quarter ended, Cedar Shoals responded quickly by scoring 2 touchdowns and leaving the halftime score with the Jags leading the game 12-7. During the second half, junior Tion Bailey ran the ball 67 yards off of a kickoff return, leading to another Cedar touchdown scored by senior Jalen Rusher. In the third quarter, 2 touchdowns were scored by Cedar, while Johnson was only able to put up 1 on the board, leaving the score in the third quarter 26-14. Cedar Shoals remained scoreless in the fourth quarter, while Johnson was able to score 1 final touchdown, making the final score 26-21, with Cedar winning the game. Cedar Shoals will face off the Loganville Red Raiders this Friday, November 1st. The game is crucial for Cedar's postseason hopes as they'll play Walnut Grove Warriors if they win the upcoming game, furthering their chances in the playoffs.
The cross-country team recently concluded their season at the region meet in Helen. No runner was able to progress to state, but the team is still happy with the results.
Personally, we didn't. I did decent. I got like a 21:15 time, and I think I came in 5th place for Cedar Shoals meet.
Some of our goals at the Helen meet were basically to just run our best race, make it to region, try to set some PRs, just run our best race as a team.
Any meet is good. That's not a meet. Region meet is good for practice and just getting it, you know, everything in rhythm. And I don't know. People think that cross country is just a like a solo sport, but it's more of a team sport than you think. For you to advance as a team, you accumulate everyone's time and placement as a certain amount of points, and it's kind of like golf where the least amount of points is the best. So, you know, the better you do, the less points you get, and then you add those all up together, and whatever team has the lowest points gets the higher placement.
Some of my personal goals were I was trying to set a new PR for myself, overcome some mistakes I made last time running, and just overall just become a better runner.
My personal goals were to PR and just get like a personal best record at that particular course and in general, just for that distance. And I ended up PRing for the 5K of like 19:17, I think. So a lot better than the an area meet.
I think the season ended pretty well for us. I set a new PR for myself. I saw some of the times. I think that overall the team did pretty good in the last race of the season.
That's all for this week's WJAG-TV Sports News.
All right, well, that concludes this week's news. We'll be back next week with all new stories about Cedar Shoals Jaguars and the East Side community. Again, I'm Aaliyah now.
And I'm Mikey Castile.
And this has been WJAG-TV with your weekly school news.